with XenonSupply.com. Today we have a 2004 Ford F-150 and we're doing a Bi-Xenon HID installation. Let's go ahead and pop the hood and get started. Here are the tools you'll need to do this installation. First of all, you'll need the H13 Bi-Xenon HID kit. The one shown here is a 6000K model. It comes with the wiring harness for the Bi-Xenon installation, the Bi-Xenon bulbs, and the 2 ballasts. The tools you'll need are some painter's tape, the 8 zip ties included in the kit, a socket wrench with a 10 and an 8mm socket, needle nose pliers, and a Phillips head screwdriver. The first thing you do with any installation is remove the negative terminal on your battery. Take the 8mm socket wrench, loosen your battery terminal, give it a tap, and it should release. Now a good thing to do would be take some painter's tape and wrap it around the terminal so they don't connect while you're working on it. Now, in order to get access to your headlights, you must first remove this plastic shrouding here. There are 9 Phillips head screws that need to be removed. The first one's right here, 2, third one, a 4th in the back, right there, 1 in the middle, the 6th one here, another one in the back, 8th one right here, and finally the 9th one here. The best way to remove them is to gently unscrew them from the top, remove the screw, and then pry up and remove the actual clip. Now that the plastic shroud is removed, you can then get access to the 10mm bolts that are holding the headlight housing to the chassis. There's one at the bottom here, 2, and 3 at the top. Let's go ahead and remove those. Now that the 3 bolts have been removed from the headlight housing, we can remove it from the chassis. There's a tab here that needs to be pulled up for you to allow it to come off. And there's actually a tab inside here, a metal clip, that you're going to have to pry loose. It does take a little bit of strength. Just go ahead and apply firm pressure. There you go. Now the H13 socket is right here. Go ahead and press down on the clip and it should come out. What we have here is the Bi-Xenon wiring harness. The connections you'll need to make: the positive terminal has to go to the positive terminal on the battery. The negative wire has to go to somewhere on your chassis, grounded. We'll show you a location for that in a bit here. The shorter set of cables are going to the passenger side of the Ford F-150. This wire here is for the ballast. This is your H13 connector that will go back to your stock harness. And this is the Bi-Xenon signal wire that will connect to the bulb. The longer set of cables here will go to the driver's side. Again, this one goes to the ballast, this one goes to the signal wires on the bulbs. If you pull back on the rubber cover here of the battery terminal, you'll see the 10mm bolt that you can loosen for the positive wire on the HID harness. Just make sure that your wire is facing towards the front of the vehicle. That way when the cover goes back on, you won't have any issues. Now the negative wire, or the common ground wire, can go to any point on the chassis where it's grounded. We selected a bolt here and actually ground some of the paint away to give good contact to the frame. You can choose anywhere else you like, this is just a recommendation. In order to remove the halogen bulb from your headlight housings, you must first remove the green connector, press down on it, and pull away, and turn the bulb counterclockwise. You should hear a snap, and you should be able to remove. Now that we have the halogen removed, we can replace it with the Bi-Xenon bulb. Take the Bi-Xenon bulb, grounding strip facing down, and replace it. You should then turn clockwise to tighten it in place. That's all set. Similar process on the driver's side. As you can see here on the passenger side, we've gone ahead and mounted the ballast to a bolt here. We just simply unscrewed it, made sure that we put the mounting bracket back on, and screwed it back in. We've also routed the wires coming from the harness through this area here, and you can go ahead and make your connections. The H13 connector is going to go to your stock H13 right here. And like we said earlier before, the larger of the wires here goes to the ballast out at the bottom. Make sure it clicks, make sure it's nice and snug. The wires coming from the ballast plug into the bulb. And the small signal cable is the last one. You may want to electrical tape this connection here before you clean up. That's the passenger side. Driver side is a similar process. Okay, now that the passenger side is done, we've run the wiring underneath this flap here. There's a small access hole here where you can run your wiring underneath the radiator mounts. The wire comes right back through this port here. And just like the passenger side, the driver side ballast has been mounted at a slight angle to the same bolt right here. We've actually done all the wiring here. I've actually electrical taped, as we recommended earlier, the Bi-Xenon signal wire, as well as electrical taped this shut. This is the stock H13 connector. We're not using this anymore because signal's coming from the other side, so we're just covering it up so it doesn't get water damage. So, we've gone ahead and cleaned up our wiring, put the headlight housings back on the chassis, and reconnected our negative terminal. Let's go ahead and check out these lights.